Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to my colleague for carving out some time for me to ask a few questions. What I'd like to do is just ask some questions regarding wildfires, particularly before, during, and after. So I'll get right into it. My question for the Minister through the Chair. The Minister of Forests committed $1 million toward fuel mitigation efforts in West Kelowna Peachland during meetings with local officials. Can the Minister confirm if this funding is included in Budget 2025? If not, what role will this Minister play in ensuring this commitment is delivered? And the same ministerial meetings also referenced the possibility of a provincial pilot-based project based in West Kelowna. What pilot project is being considered, and what are its objectives, and how will this ministry be involved in coordinating or supporting it?
Minister.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. Thanks to the member opposite for the question. I had an opportunity to be in his community maybe 3-4 weeks ago. Had an opportunity to meet with the West Bank First Nations, and they were kind enough to be able to fly me over their community forest. Much of the territory, got a chance to see a bit of the impact of the McDougall Creek fire as well, and it was certainly a learning experience, not just for myself, but a really good conversation that ensued afterwards. Just want to correct the record on a couple of things, and then I'll touch on the members' comments. Firstly, there was no commitment to the $1 million that the member referred to. What I'll share is the meeting that I had with his mayor, which was very positive, centered around acknowledgement of the fact that West Kelowna, because it's had to, but also because the local government there has really stepped up. Again, because they have to, but also because they recognize how important this is to ensure that there are further funding opportunities for them in the future. And what I mean by that is right now, much of our program is built around supporting communities in terms of where they're at, and majority of communities in terms of their wildfire mitigation work are just in those early stages. Members should be proud that his community is not in that stage. They are very well advanced. And so we made a commitment to want to work with West Kelowna to better ensure that our funding programs truly are meeting communities where they're at, where it's not just focused solely on communities that are developing their planning work, but moving towards ensuring that we're supporting communities that are well advanced, have resources on the ground, and have the ability to be able to take on more work. And I think the member will agree that his community of West Kelowna is in many cases leading the province in those efforts. So we made a commitment to the mayor to find ways to be able to support a community like him that are well advanced. We're looking at investment opportunities. I'll share with the member the community resiliency investment was a one-year program. You would apply every year for projects. We've made that now a multi-year initiative, and that was in recognition, again, of communities like Kelowna that have done great work. I'll also share with the member just the specific dollars as it relates to Kelowna. The City of West Kelowna has been approved for $606,000 in funding since 2018. Of this approved amount, $91,932 has been used for fuels management. And I'll just share with him that want to continue working with the mayor, the fire chief there, to be able to find solutions. And I really enjoyed the conversations I had with the mayor and look forward to continuing those in the weeks ahead.
Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the Minister for the response. So I have actually already completed my 4-hour estimates with the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, and I had several questions, quite a few that I was specifically directed by that ministry to speak to the Minister of Forests. And in the interest of time, because I know we're getting pretty short, I'd like to just submit questions to the Minister in writing for response after the fact. The following questions are submitted under advisement to the Minister of Forests for written response as part of the 2025 budget estimates for the Ministry of Forests. Submission made by Macklin McCall, MLA for West Kelowna Peachland. Is it possible to submit them to the clerk? I don't know what the procedure would be, but it's just want to make sure I can minimize the time. Pardon.
Go ahead.
I'll just wait. Pardon me.
It would be best if you could read them into
Sure,
the
I
record.
can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, so first, given that wildfires since 2016 have burned an area larger than Vancouver Island, devastating timber supplies and ecosystems, why does Budget 2025 allocate only a modest $8 million increase for wildfire management? What is the ministry's plan to bridge the gap, given the record-breaking cost of wildfires, over $1 billion spent in 2023? Number two, how will the ministry ensure robust wildfire pre-season planning when Budget 2025 funds focus predominantly on reactive firefighting measures? Specifically, what proactive strategies, example fire breaks, equipment, and training, are being funded to prevent mega fires rather than merely respond to them? Number three, with BC having spent a record $1.1 billion on fire management in 2023, exceeding the budget by $401 million, what safeguards does the ministry propose to avoid such under-budgeting in 2025? Does the ministry anticipate relying on the $10 billion contingency fund for wildfire costs, or will core budgets be adjusted to reflect true firefighting expenditures? Number four, Budget 2025 shows the Forests Ministry's spending falling from $1.4 billion to $891 million, partly due to lower forecast wildfire expenses. How can the ministry justify this reduction after 2023's worst wildfire season, and what risk assessments support the assumption of significantly lower firefighting costs in 25-26? Number five, in light of year-round wildfire threats, how is BC Wildfire Services staffing and training being enhanced? Specifically, given record recruitment interests, 1,700 applicants for 200 crew jobs in 2025, Will Budget 2025 accommodate more full-time positions or training programs to leverage this surge and improve wildfire response capacity? Number 6, experts note BC must revolutionize forest practices by reinstating preventative burns and forest thinning. What dedicated funding in Budget 2025 beyond the $20 million per year noted for prevention is earmarked for controlled burns, fuel management, and cultural burning initiatives, especially near high-risk communities? Number 7, the Tyee highlighted that New Jersey, with less than 1% of BC's area, conducts more preventative burns than BC. How does the ministry intend to up its fire mitigation game in 2025? Are there new targets or interjurisdictional partnerships planned to scale up prescribed burns and fire break projects to match best practices in regions like Australia and the United States? Number 8, given that each dollar invested in wildfire mitigation can yield $7 in benefits, especially by protecting watersheds and communities, why does Budget 2025 continue underinvesting in prevention relative to suppression? How will the ministry measure the cost effectiveness of any Fire Smart and Crowned Land Wildfire Risk Reduction, or CLWRR, projects funded this year? Number 9, and I'm almost done. After the catastrophic 2023 fire season, many communities have millions of dollars in unmet wildfire prevention needs. How is the ministry addressing the funding shortfall for local mitigation projects, such as fuel removal and prescribed burns? Will Budget 2025 increase community resiliency investment grants, given one fire chief's comment that during current funding covers only 1/5 of needed work? Number 10, cultural bans are a proven tool to reduce wildfire risk and involve Indigenous expertise. What progress will Budget 2025 enable for the cultural and prescribed fire program, and how many hectares are expected to be treated through cultural burns in 2025? Are any First Nations partnerships or training programs expanding to integrate these traditional practices more broadly? 11, as major wildfires sterilize soil and increase erosion, reforestation becomes more urgent and complex. What earmarked funding or programs in Budget 2025 will tackle post-wildfire replanting, land rehabilitation, and erosion control in severely burned areas? Please detail any specific allocations or lack thereof for such recovery work in response to the 2023 wildfires in places like the Okanagan, such as the West Side Complex. Number 12, experts warn that burned watersheds lead to debris torrents and sediment in drinking water. In Budget 2025, what resources are allocated to protect water quality after wildfires? Is there funding for catchment rehabilitation, such as reseeding ground cover or installing silt traps, in areas such as the Shuswap and Caribou, where community water systems are affected by the 2023 fires? 13, given that smaller communities and First Nations without big filtration plants are starting to see boil water advisories post-fires, how will the ministry work with emergency management and health to address these risks? Are there interministerial funds or programs in 2025 to assist in upgrading water infrastructure or providing interim clean water supplies in wildfire-affected areas? 14, the Forest Ministry's mandate includes land-based recovery. Does Budget 2025 fund any wildfire land-based recovery program pilots aimed at maintaining or restoring water quality, for instance, replanting stream buffers, stabilizing slopes to prevent ash runoff? If yes, please detail. If not, why was this critical aspect overlooked despite known wildfire impacts on fisheries and drinking water? 15, in 2024, a one-time recovery uplift of $100,000 was offered to 6 local governments for post-wildfire debris clearing and rebuilding. Will this recovery uplift program continue or expand in 2025? And will its scope include measures to specifically safeguard water sources, like removing charred debris around reservoirs or repairing damaged water intakes? I think I got like 2 more left here. 16, with extensive staff demands from wildfire seasons, hundreds of BC Wildfire Service personnel and support staff in emergency operations, and simultaneous needs to advance policy, old growth deferrals, landscape planning, is the ministry properly resourced in terms of staffing levels? Did Budget 2025 authorize any increase in full-time equivalents or FTEs for the Ministry of Forests or the BC Wildfire Service to manage these dual pressures? If not, how will the ministry avoid burnout and ensure both emergency response and strategic planning mandates are met? And I think this is the last one. 17, in summary, does the minister believe the 2025 NDP budget failed the forestry portfolio? Please address how this budget shortchanges the ministry's ability to prepare for climate impacts such as wildfires and floods and to support an industry in crisis. What commitments can the Ministry of Forests make to British Columbians that despite the limited new funding, it will innovatively leverage every tool available to protect communities, sustain our forests, and preserve jobs in the year ahead? And thank you. Those are my questions. Clerk.
Minister.
Thanks very much. If there's one thing that I think we could take from those lines of questions is, how come we're only talking about forestry for 6 hours? Should double it next year. We're ready to go on this side of the house. Good questions from the member opposite. Lots there. I'd love to be able to dive into all of those. I'm not sure if his colleague would want me to do that because it'll probably take time away from his issues. But maybe next year we could spend a little bit more time on forestry and prioritize forestry and BC Wildfire Service as part of the overall estimates. But what I will say is that I am proud to be the minister responsible for the BC Wildfire Service. As the member opposite will know well, we have 2 votes counts as part of these estimates. One that pertains to the overall ministry budget and one specific to the BC Wildfire Service. And I want the member opposite to know, and I want all British Columbians to know that we will spend whatever we need to keep British Columbians safe. We will spend whatever we need to, as we have in previous years, to ensure that we have the teams we need to be able to protect British Columbians in every part of this province. The BC Wildfire Service makes that commitment to British Columbians each and every year. We continue to add resources. I would encourage the member opposite to go back into the Hansard records over the last day and hear about some of those specifics. And again, I'm happy to touch on his questions and write back to him with some specifics in terms of the work that we're doing.
West Kelowna Peachland.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you thank you to the minister. I appreciate that.